Welcome to the Compressor Guru. In this series of episodes, the Guru is going to do a complete rebuild on an Ingersoll Rand 242. This machine is older than the Guru. Enjoy this series as Bud gets surprised by some issues, but this machine did not beat the Guru. And now, here is the Compressor Guru.
Welcome to the Compressor Guru. We have a total rebuild to do on a Ingersoll Rand 242. And we're going to start right from, well, everything except getting it off the truck. And it's already on the forklift. I've already gathered up the tools I need. I was very surprised at the vintage of this machine. Now, I've never seen a serial number like this. I've seen a lot of 242s, and there's been hundreds of thousands of these pumps made. But this is stamped 07-58. That was before I was born. I never saw an Ingersoll stamp like this for the serial number. There is a small number above it, and it's in the low 100,000s. So we got a pretty old machine. First thing we're going to do, we've got some old fittings, and we got PB Blaster. PB Blaster is a great penetrating oil, and I recently watched a comparison on YouTube. Some guy did a pretty scientific study of a bunch of penetrating oils, and he didn't use this one. I think this one would have contended with the best he had. So we're going to take and we're going to spray these intercooler nuts. On the older ones, you got 3 different little coolers to move the air from the low pressure side to the high pressure side. And in all honesty, this is the toughest part about tearing this particular machine down. We're going to put a little bit of juice on all the lines, and through the magic of editing, we'll be right back. Like I said before in other videos, and Eric reminded us, if you're not sure how something's going to go back together, pull your cell phone out, take a picture of where the lines go. This one's extremely simple. There's only 2 lines, and they're not interchangeable, and there's no way you can make this run to there, not without bending it up. And I won't put that past some people. So we're going to see if we can pop these loose right now. First thing we're going to do is we're going to pop the heads off. We're going to start with the low pressure side. That's the larger head. And I already have the impact wrench out. These don't go together with impact wrenches, but it's okay to pop them apart. 3/4 bolt on the low pressure side. 3/4 bolt on the low pressure side. And there's our low pressure valve set. We will set these aside. I will clean them up. We will tear them down in the episode that's going to show you how to rebuild the valves. This is interesting. We had 2 gaskets stacked up. 30 years ago, Ingersoll, along with every other company, had to quit using gaskets that had asbestos in them. And they worked great with the asbestos, However, I hear they cause cancer. Well, they came out with a couple different generations of gaskets, and it was very common for these gaskets to blow. And if we have a fiber gaskets, I'm going to show you the fix to make it so you can use one gasket and not have a blowout. My guess is we got the new graphite gaskets and they work great. And there's only one gasket on the head to the valve side, which makes total sense because this is where the gaskets would blow. So this is the high pressure side, and we are missing we had a broken valve finger. Very interesting. This machine was actually pumping. And so we have a broken valve finger right there. It's been broke for a while. You can see where it was hitting the stop. And it was out of place hitting the stop. So this valve finger's been broke for a while. No wonder it was pumping so slow. We're going to change the safety valve because with this valve finger being broken, this safety valve should be popping. Since it wasn't popping, I don't trust it. And that safety valve protects this intercooler. Let's set this aside and we will do that in another episode on the valve. Okay, so how does that cylinder wall look, camera wife?
Actually, the wall doesn't look too bad. It's just not as shiny as the other side probably because this one had all that gut going on.
And there's a little bit of evidence of water laying in this one. If you shoot in from this side, you'll see some rust marks. And I had a big fear about these cylinders that we may have had damage. I don't see anything to make me worry now. So we're going to start draining our oil. We're going to pull this, and we're going to take the rods loose, and then we're going to be ready to pull our cylinder walls. But before we do that, we're going to have to take that cylinder and the intercoolers loose.
It's a pretty high-tech drainage system you have.
Yes, it is, and don't you forget it.
Bet that used to be in Grammy Steiner's house once.
I don't know where I got that. That does look like something she had.
Well, she had green.
And this is why they make oil dry. And believe it or not, that oil is less than 6 months old.
Wow. Gonna zero in on there so you can see how yucky it looks.
I cleaned that crankcase out when I cleaned all the sludge out and wiped it as good as I could. Used some,
Ugh.
yeah.
Won't fit on there.
Nope, we're going to have to do the other side, take that coil off and see if I can finagle the wrench in.
You should hold that can up again now. I've got a further back view for you.
Dan Aykroyd and the Blues Brothers in the elevator was gluing the elevator buttons, or no, this was in the car. He glued the accelerator down and he held up the can of glue and said, "Good stuff." And this PB blaster is good stuff.
Opposite of glue, but
Opposite
good
of glue.
stuff.
Exactly opposite of glue. Now that I held that in the proper position to make the camera wife happy, let's see if this one comes loose. Oh yeah, the second one here. Didn't need to hold the second wrench. This is actually the toughest part of these old machines, is these individual cores on the aftercooler, or on the intercoolers. You may go, why is there a cooler on there? When you compress air, it becomes hot, and when the air travels from this stage to that stage, when the air leaves this cylinder, it can be 200, 225 degrees. If you put the air into this cylinder at 200 degrees, it is going to, there we go, that's all it took. If you put the air into this cylinder at 200 degrees, it's going to prematurely ruin these valves. So by cooling the air, you'll get it down to maybe 120 degrees before it goes into this, and you'll extend your valve life. That's the purpose of an intercooler on a compressor. Not to be confused with the aftercooler. Which the aftercooler is not to be confused with the afterlife. You know where you're going? I know where I'm going. If you want to know how I know where I'm going, leave a comment and I'll tell you. Maybe you won't ask, so I'll tell you anyway. I have a Savior, his name's Jesus. I have absolute confidence I will spend eternity in heaven with him and God. And so, an aftercooler is not the afterlife. What an aftercooler does, it takes the hot air from the discharge side of the high pressure, which comes out at 225 degrees or so, and heads for the tank. But when you run it through a little high pressure radiator and put some air through it, the air is supplied by the fan on the flywheel, the temperature actually goes down to a few degrees above room temperature. When you do that and cool that air down, you condensate some of the water out of the air, and it ends up in the tank where you can drain it out. If that air stayed hot, it would go in the tank and go downstream, go to your tools, and when it would decompress, that's where the majority of your water would appear and go. And when it would condensate in the lines in your tool, that's when you have damaged your tool by the water. An air-cooled aftercooler is an excellent addition to have on a shop compressor. Most of the compressors we sell don't have them. However, we do have a package available through Atlas Copco where it's called a full package, 5 horsepower, and it comes with an air-cooled aftercooler, comes with an automatic tank drain. Hey, comes with an automatic tank drain and a few other options, and it is an excellent choice for a body shop because fighting moisture is always a problem when it goes to painting. And by eliminating a lot of the moisture, we have the opportunity to improve the quality of air and improve the paint quality of the shop. Okay, we're going to put this out of the way before I kick it and have oil all over the floor. We're going to pull this plate off now. So the owner of this machine, his name's Brad. He's one of the owners at B&D Automotive Service Center in Osceola, PA. And Brad's been a mechanic for a long time, but he's only been in business for a few years. I checked him out on Google, and he has a ton of good reviews. Actually, he does some of my work too. And so if you're in Clearfield/Center County. You may want to check out Brad and B&D Auto. I'll put his phone number in a frame at the end of, I guess, the final video. And we'll get him a little advertising, and he's an excellent choice. He's done good work on everything I've sent him. We have a centrifugal unloader, and this is a centrifugal unloader valve. There should be a pin in there. This is like a little Schrader valve or a bicycle or inner tube valve in here. And there's a little valve, or there's a little pin that will go through the housing. And when my knock gets apart, I'm going to catch it. I'm going to roll it this way so I don't lose any parts. And the pin's missing. So, it gives us a choice to make when we put this back on, whether I know I don't have a pin, it didn't come in the kit, but since I don't have a pin, what we might do is put a new pressure switch on the total unit, and we will run this line instead of down here. We'll run this line to the pressure switch and unload it electrically so it starts easy. This is so it starts easy. This has to be in here for balance, but it's not going to be hooked up because the pin's already missing. So, okay, we got a couple little bolts here, and they're wire tied together. I'm going to cut the wires. I'm going to take those bolts out. We're going to take this off, and then we're ready to take the cylinders.
Oh yeah, it's starting to become reminiscent of the other one we tore apart.
It's except for the flywheel, the intercoolers, and the valves, it's the same machine.
Yeah, I remember this little wire thing you have to put in there. Okay.
Okay, so we're cutting the wires that are laced into these two bolts. These bolts have holes drilled in them so that this wire can go through it.
You know, from this angle, that kind of looks like Cookie Monster's face. And he's got a crooked smile. His two little eyes are where you're taking the wire. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. This is why you make me laugh.
Even though this machine is older than even me.
Yes, it is. And it's older than Cookie Monster, too.
Ah.
Maybe this is where they got the idea for Cookie Monster.
But it's not older than Barbie. Or is it?
What year did Barbie come out?
I can't remember. I think it might have been 58.
Yeah. So this is not older than my sister. And you can see the little
Where do I find you? Oh, yes.
holes through it so we can replace with more lacing wire once we're and bingo. Got wires on there so that if these bolts ever came loose while this machine's running, that this doesn't fall off and tear apart the bottom side of the machine. The wires would hold the bolts from turning more than a quarter or a half turn. So that's the theory there.
Take this back wide again. This was really gucky inside those. Ugh. So, if I come over here and look down in, well, at least I don't see pieces of everything laying in there. He wants to shine. Oh, look at that pretty face. It has two little legs, one shorter than the other, and it's got its arms hanging up. Kind of looks like a sloth. Yeah, I hope he cuts this part out of here, because sometimes my mind just wanders, because
I'm the fun one here. Okay.
That's the main bearings that are out of it. Okay, so I'm wiggling the shaft up and down. Main bearings are out of this machine. We have new main bearings in the kit. Can you see that movement there?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, we're going to pop the low pressure head off, or the cylinder off first. 4 bolts. Wonder why I have arthritis so bad. But I don't hammer on my SK wrenches. Those wrenches are 20 years old and there's not a mark on them.
Oh, so the wrenches are not older than me.
No, they're not. They're not even.
Don't even go there.
They're not even older than my daughter. I used to buy a lot of SK tools. My tool of choice now is Gray Pneumatic, which we sell also. We sell SK. And I'm going to let you in on a great secret. Now, they don't make a lot of hand sets for regular wrenches, but they make a lot of specialty combination wrenches. Ooh, that came off easy. Good thing I didn't drop it. Here.
Well, actually, from right here, I get a pretty good shot. Ah.
We have evidence that this had some water in it at one time, but there's no scarring in the cylinders, so we can very simply hone that out, get a fresh crosshatch pattern, and we will be good to put it back together.
Actually, I don't need the light with this. It's amazing.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's see if it's better with the light.
Actually, no. I don't think so. Well, maybe if you do it that way.
So the cylinder looks pretty good. If you look down there in the bottom, I'll roll it over for you, Val. You can see evidence where it must have loaded up with water one time and set for a while. That's okay. We're going to make that work. We've got a good cylinder wall the rest of the way around, and we've got good cylinder where the rings run.
Okay.
So, okay, we're now taking the high pressure cylinder off. 4 bolts. I'll be a little more careful with this one because that other one almost fell. And it'll come off easy too. Oh, look at that. Our rod bearing that fits on the shaft came off also.
Wow.
And in other videos you've seen where we were working on that 25-45 where it took a little heat to loosen them up. Didn't take much heat, but took a little. Okay. That's in nice shape. The connecting rod and the piston, or the wrist pin. There's no damage there. All it needs is honed. Okay. We take our 7/8 inch wrench. side. There we go. Not too tight. Not everybody has a puller. I'm going to try to get my puller on here and pop this off. If you don't have a puller, there's a couple things you can do. We're going to take our bolt all the way out, and you can take a chisel and tap into here. What that'll do is that'll spread this ever so slightly. And the other thing you can do is once you've done that, you can take a propane torch and heat here and here and let the heat pop it out, and you might be able to pull it off like this. I'm not even going to attempt that because I have the puller. I spent the money to have the puller, but if you don't happen to have one, there are more ways to get this wheel off. The camera wife was making mention that this is very, very similar to the 2545 we rebuilt last spring. And it actually is very similar with about 3 exceptions. The different intercooler, which you saw, we had 3 small tubes instead of 1 large tube. The valves are finger valves. The other ones were little valve plates, and that's actually what's in the new 5 horsepowers, little valve plates, but these have finger valves. And the other thing is this is a straight shaft and not a tapered shaft. So this being a straight shaft, if you can get the wheel to expand because you've got a gap here, you can get it off. With the tapered shaft, there's no collar to tighten on the shaft. There's no collar on the flywheel to tighten up here. So on the tapered shafts, there's a bolt in the end. It sucks it on, and when it's on, and you have to have a puller to get them off. They don't come off without a puller. These ones, you can get away with what I'm telling you. And I will be careful. I'm not real worried about this popping and falling on the floor because it will wind the whole way off the shaft. It won't just come loose and pop and fall. That's what happens with the tapered shafts. This is a straight shaft. Thank you. Still filming?
Yes?
Okay, so we've got our proto puller on. It doesn't quite hang on to the one rounded side. We've got a clamp on it to help hold the jaws in. And we are going to have to redo that because our C-clamp moved. YouTube audience, a little while ago I said this is going extremely well. I spoke too soon! Sorry. And the camera wife warned me I was speaking too soon, and as usual, she was right. Okay, we're going to try that. Get that? Now do you see the value of it now? Oh. They go on easier than they come off. So. Okay, so the wheel's off.
You have a lot of cleaning to do.
That'll be done when the camera wife's not here and I smell good and greasy when I come home from the parts washer tomorrow. We have a moon key that has to come out so we can get our seal housing off, so we can remove a snap ring so we can hammer the crankshaft out so we can get at the bearings. First thing, let's see if we can get the moon key easy. And that's the way we like to see it. We moved it. Hey, camera wife. We're back to things going well.
I wanted to say, be careful.
Okay. We've got 4 little bolts. Ooh. Good thing I didn't ruin that. Didn't reset it. I know you can hear a ting on that last bolt. I missed the thing. Okay. And we're going to take the wheel spout all the way out. And I'm going to set it up on end and drive it down. It's small enough, I think I can get away with that. Taking a piece of pipe out.
Going to move to the other side again. Pardon my blurring and walking.
Snap ring. Now, I need my brass drift, and we're just going to bump this down and out. And can you see that going down? Just focus in right here.
Yes, I can see it now.
Look at that. Here's why we're doing this. Should be, that one's okay right there. That roller bearing's out. This all goes to the parts washer tonight. I'm sitting down while I'm finishing this. This all goes to the parts washer tonight. I will soak this stuff and get a head start on cleaning. Our next episode will come in here and we'll press the bearings off of this shaft. hopefully we don't have a fire like we did last time we pressed bearings. I got a lot of funny comments from friends that watched that personally, and anyway. So, anyway, next episode, we will be tearing this apart and we'll re-bearing this crankshaft, and all the parts will be cleaned up, and we'll start our reassembly. Thank you. Like, subscribe, hit that notify bell, leave a comment. By the way, I'll mention it right now. The flat rate time I charge for a 242 is 8 hours in the shop to rebuild it. No additional charges aside from the parts, oil, and other material. But 8 hours, I'll do this in slightly less, but that's because I've done a bunch of them. And if you do one between 8 and 10 hours and it's your first time through, you're doing pretty good. It's real simple work. Good luck to you. Subscribe so that you see the rest of this rebuild. God bless. Have a great day.
Who are you?
I'm Bud Steiner. I'm the Compressor Guru.
Thank you. God bless you and have a good day.